welcome everybody to the Chicken Coupe, where we have guests come on to our show and they basically tell us what they're doing, etc., etc. Here we have someone that is on the forefront talking about like U.S.-China relations as well as AI. Saji Madapat. Saji, well, let me introduce you with the ceremonial. That being said, please tell us about yourself.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate this opportunity to give you your platform to um, put some of my contrarian perspectives. Maybe a high-level background. I'm originally from the God's own country. That is, we affectionately call it as God's own country. The southwestern side of India, state code from Kerala. That is a state where first time a communist government was democratically elected in 1980s. And this is a highly, again, I don't know how much you know about India. It's a 5,000-year-old civilization. There are around 2,000 languages and dialects. In that particular state, that is a model for United Nations model for the 100% literacy. And we believe we are followers of St. Thomas back in 52 AD. The Christian missionaries or the St. Thomas came later on. All the Portuguese, all the colonizers, the Portuguese, the French, and finally the Britishers. They all brought the Christian missionaries. They opened the schools all around the state. As a result, it is 100% illiterate. That 96% treated as 100% illiterate. Because of the literacy, that's where the 1954, the communist government was democratically elected also. So as a result of, it's a quasi-communism, democratic version of communism. Because of the communist influence, there is no industry, hardly any industry over there. So, we pretty much outsource, to the other states so as a result, most of us, it's a great place to get educated, especially on the engineering and the professional side. Once we are educated, we have very little opportunities in that state. So as a result, in 1998, I came to States as a product of Y2K, the biggest business blunder in the business history. Yeah. So as a cyber coolie to fix the Armageddon code, fix that. The situation. So I came here initially as a ERP finance consultant. So I moved up the chain. I do the consulting work in some of the largest corporations in the world. I was also with one of the biggest Big Four consulting firm before. I've seen my fair share of the world. So in 2020, in short, in 2020, especially during the thick of COVID, I was unemployed at that time because of some, and I was not sure about how long I'm going to live. So I thought, let me make my facts straight. So that's when I came the idea with, the gods must be crazy idea, the very first version of the book I came out with. The subtitle of the book is From the Cradle of Communism, where the communism was born, to the catacomb of capitalism. So from that perspective, from my tiger ride from the cradle of communism to the catacomb of capitalism perspective, I wrote the book. So yeah.
I can vouch for myself, Robert, and Kat, because we were alive during the whole Y2K nonsense. I actually came across a bunch of doomsday preppers, and I was like a kid, and I didn't know, but I was like, what? Even I was just like, dude, what? Anyway, fucking Y2K, what a load of crap that was. Anyway, one of the reasons why...
Well, we need to give big credit to the Y2K because many of us are technologically, advanced as a byproduct of, all the dot-com bubble and all those things came. Resulting from, partly resulting from the
Y2K. The dot-com bubble. To this day, I still think that the streaming wars, how the marketing stabilized, it's basically this generation's dot-com bubble, because it was the exact same thing. Like everybody was promising the world with all these websites, etc., etc. Then everything started to stabilize and market value basically tanked because. Bleh. Anyway, but one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you up was to chat about. Well, I mean, yes, on U.S.-China, U.S. versus China, or as our current president, China. But I'll get to that in a second. But like, really, I really wanted to talk about AI. AI is, for the record, I'm very anti. I don't want to say I'm. No, I am very anti-AI. I don't want it anywhere near the animation process, or if I'm developing video games or whatever, I don't use it. Mainly because, like, I'll use AI for certain things, like thumbnails, video descriptions, tags, but that's about it. I don't even use Chat GPT to, like, help me write a lesson plan. I'll just write that all on my own because, in all honesty, no. Because for let's say I'm writing a lesson plan for my students at my school, right? It'd be easy to go down that easy road. I mean, yeah, it would save a lot of time, but at the same time, that's how it starts. Look at YouTube right now, right? What is it? 1 in 10 of the most videos watched on YouTube right now is literally AI-driven content. It's AI. It's worse than that. It's AI slop. And that was a term that I picked up when I was watching Last Week Tonight, and I was just like, oh, I didn't know that they called it that. And to be fair, I could see why, because I usually never watch any AI videos, and usually because why? I'd rather watch something like hardworking people put their time and effort into. And after watching like a ton of AI slop, I can honestly say like, yeah. So, what would you say? Like, what would your 2 cents be on the topic of AI before, like, moving on to the China business?
It is what perspective you're looking at. AI can produce some crappy cat videos or some crappy stuff, and AI on the other side. I know we're going to get into the China play a little bit later. So, unfortunately, most of this part of the world we are using for that kind of fluff and the crappy, cat videos and producing the nonsenses. But the same AI can be used in a highly productive, you can amplify your creativity with AI too. And this is where, again, I know we're going to get into later, the kind of AI, what we are focusing in this part of the world versus the kind of AI, which China is focusing. We are more focusing on the fluffy, crappy, side of the AI. Versus on the other side, if you use that one, automating your, at an industrial scale on the robotic side or on the scientific research or even on the video itself, if you can come out with since you guys are more into the video development and that kind of stuff, you can come out with if you throw some good ideas and with the good prompts, it can come out with multiple variations of, ideas. It can amplify, you can take it to you can amplify your creativity also with the AI. Or, if you can, then again, over here, this part of the world, most of the crappy, the images, most people use it for crappy images and crappy videos and all that kind of stuff. But on the other side, again, you can, the AI is you can treat it as a mirror. It is not a messiah. The way you look at it, the way you want to use it, it is going to amplify it in an exponential way. If you're looking for crappy stuff, it is going to throw you with, amplified crappy stuff. If you're using it for productive work, it can be used, highly productive purpose.
Well, okay. when you say productivity, because I know Taco Bell wanted to use AI
Oh,
for, I think, like their drive-through menu, but they actually had to stop it because um, I don't want to say, well, it was a bunch of trolls. They were ordering something ridiculous, like 10,000 cups of water, and Taco Bell just straight up said no more AI. There was that one incident where I think, what was it? Was it the Air Force that was using an AI drone or something like that, and it just went rogue? And then there was that one person that went on the panel saying, "Yeah, it did," and then he quickly like said no or whatever. Am I
I
remembering?
think that was because I faintly remember that there was it was acknowledged for like a moment because they had tried to put in commands and it basically just rejected everything they said.
Hmm. Yeah. So one could chalk that up to be like one could chalk that up to be AI in its infancy. And to be fair, they're not wrong. Technically speaking, one could argue it still is in its infancy. It's just getting better and better. So, like, when you mention productivity, where would you draw the line when it comes to using AI in the in the actual workforce? Because it doesn't matter about like my feelings on like animation, game development. You're right, because that's more of the fluffy. Yeah, it's the
mhm,
fluffy side of things. When you're
mhm.
actually worried, when you're using it like order processing, um, um, logistics, military stuff, where would you draw the where, or even when calculating physics and physics and stuff like that, where would you draw the line?
Um, AI is pretty much everywhere. It can be applied to pretty much most, when I'm talking about the professional, situation. For example, in the podcasting world itself. I don't know how, have you tried the notebook LM from the
Uh,
Google?
I don't think I have.
Oh, okay. Notebook LM has a audio podcasting feature. It can come out with, right now it's only two different voices. And if you feed the data to that one, it can come out with a relatively good the analysis between the two. Right? So right now it's only just one. They did about last month. They launched the video LM also, notebook, video feature. But that is right now. It's only a slight perspective. It is not. It is in the infancy. It can be applied. Like you're a teacher, right? So most of those educate. Let me put it this way. Even last year, this is before AI itself. Most of the 40, according to I forgot the name of the scholar, the Harvard scholar predicted 40% of the universities in this part of in US are at the verge of closing. And this is again even prior to the AI influence. With the AI influence, you need to especially in the teaching side, you need to know how to utilize, especially some of those notebook LM features, some of those Claude, like that is a fantastic, the teaching features also with the ChatGPT and with the Claude and all this kind of. So otherwise, your students are going to be they're this generation, the AI generation. They'll be using it on your phone, and so. It can be used, the whole, according to McKinsey's prediction, by 2030, 40% of the professional class is going to be wiped out. With, they're going to. It's already accelerated. It's in based on my own experience. The most of the layoffs is happening in the Silicon Valley and that area. Right now, it is. Especially the programming, the field, at least for Google and many of these companies, at least half of the programming is already done by AI. I think half or 70%. I don't get. Significant portion of the programming is done by the AI. So it is not going to. It is not just the computer professionals alone. All the doctors, the lawyers, or professional class, and teaching side especially. It is going to be a hybrid kind of environment we're going to get into. We need to bring the good part of the AI. It can amplify. For example, if you want to, suppose let's assume that you're teaching the physics or one of those topics, and so on. So if you want to come out with a case study or in a specific scenario, it can help you come out with the latest and the greatest, things happening in that. Build a case study for your kids, for your students. So it can be an enabler. It can be on the other side. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, the AI is used, mostly used for the craft. And versus in China, the TikTok videos, they're not allowed to watch. It's a ByteDance problem. In China, they are not allowed to watch the TikTok video. Even if they are watching it, it's only restricted only for a couple of hours a day. Like that kind of social media. Versus the same platform, ByteDance, Dayu, or I forgot the name of this one. They teach their kids on robotics, on the scientific developments. They force the Chinese government force the kids to watch that kind of productive side of social media or AI. Now especially with AI.
And seeing that, we might as well touch upon the elephant in the room. China has basically been kicking the Google unveiled its Sora, Microsoft its AI, etc., and they're touting it as a huge achievement. Then China comes out and basically mops the floor with them because their AI model surpassed theirs by miles, like a ton. And it's not just that. China is they're. I know this is old news, and I don't know if it's still relevant because they're gearing up for another space race, and I think the end target is Mars. Me and China. Wow, that came out of my throat. Me and China. My feelings on China. Of course, I'm not a fan. They're big brother and a half. Again, what is wrong with my throat? They're big brother and a half. The way they just stamp out any form of rights is it's egregious. But it's odd how a lot of people are essentially, I don't want to say the ones who care are the ones that are actually, that they have literally next to no voice. And the ones who don't care are more obsessed with what's going on here. And to be fair, there's a lot that's happening here with the raids. It's just, I find it so strange that people are still willing to die on release the Epstein files when literally the raids are happening, and that's bad. But I guess my question really is with how do you raise more concern about what China is doing? Because while yes, Google, Microsoft, Apple, they're losing their shit over over China's AI. How would we raise more awareness? I guess that would be the best question. How would we raise more awareness, saying hey, you can't not pay attention to them. They're doing things.
That's a great point. Yeah, unfortunately, with the media landscape in this part of the world, focusing on sound bites and the bullet points, and the media, especially which the media is so fragmented, they're looking from their perspective. That's where this kind of podcast can come into the significant That's one of the key reason I decided to write the book also before it is too late, because the mainstream media, the mainstream kind of publications, they don't, they give very little. Let me put it this way: the media over here, especially the media over here, they thrive on that. They make the money on the rating. The rating, if you're saying something good or something productive, something meaningful for your students, so meaningful for nobody is interested in watching that kind. I mean, hardly very few people are interested in. They can't make the money out of advertising dollar. But versus they put something crappy, they put something something angry stuff. Then the rating goes up by at least they get at least 17% more percentage rating. This is if you look at the Facebook and the social media industry, it's $100 billion industry built on race. By turning the family against, you can't have a civilized conversation on a dinner table. And unfortunately, on a Thanksgiving dinner, you can't have a civilized conversation with this kind of environment. So in this kind of world, this is again the platform what you're giving, like this kind of podcasting, this kind of alternate medias, the various publications can have a tremendous impact. Again, I don't know how many of your audience are like in this part of the world. Even within the PBS news itself, they didn't give much importance. Just last week, over 20 of the world leaders assembled in China, Shanghai conference in Tianjin City in China. They were all, if you look at it around, I think more than half the world population was represented over there. In terms of global, the financial perspective, on the GDP perspective, more than 50%, I think around 60% of the world, the wealthy country, like this, countries were assembled in that part of the new world order. They're writing the new world order as we speak. They're ganging up against just one country or one person over here. So fundamentally, there is a significant shift happening in this kind of world. Again, or in this part of the world, we know AI through ChatGPT and the crappy, cat videos and all the crappy stuff which we're talking about and all like that. But half of the AI developers are based out of China.
Yeah.
When we graduate one STEM graduate in this part of the world, the China graduates 8 STEM graduates. About, I think, every year, I think around 200,000 around people in US get graduated in the STEM field. Versus in 8 million people are getting every year. China is graduating 8 million graduates. When we are closing down, when we are on the verge of closing down 40% of our universities in this part of the world, China is opening, every week they're opening one new university. And if you watch, I highly recommend you to watch some of the Shanghai conferences development, the kind of, on the military, they had the biggest military parade, today that happened on last Wednesday in Tianjin City. If you look at it over here in this part of the world, we are still fighting, we are still focusing on F-35 and all those things. So that's in a way, that is a Cold War era, those are the equipments developed to fight against the Soviet Union and that kind of era stuff. Versus the China was exhibiting the drones with the AI capabilities, not just the drones alone. The boats, without without anybody in there. They're showcasing their the military equipment alone on with the AI capabilities, drone capabilities. It was completely, again, I highly recommend. Again, unfortunately, this kind of stuff is not reported in the any of the mainstream media. Mainstream media make the money out of race. This is where, this kind of platform, especially the YouTube, again, I understand, again, the YouTube is filled with the most crappy stuff, but if you search for the right stuff, you can find, the right content also.
Fair enough. The one thing that, like me personally, especially with my students that I'm fighting for, is to, well, no, I can't necessarily say that. Take this with a hint of salt. Like, I'm still fighting to keep my students' attention span. I usually do. I usually do, because, like, despite how this interview is going, Robert, Kevin, they can attest, I'm a very animated person. I can make things, even the most boring subject matter, fun by essentially being me. However, like, and I've noticed this, like, a ton, even when I'm looking at my YouTube analytics, like, oh, the shorts are taking off. Cool. That's also bad, because because of, like, shorts, TikToks, all that, the average attention span is what, like 24 seconds? So to try to, like, alleviate that, like, you have clips and stuff like that, but, like, you have you have clips of, like, highlights or whatever, but at the end of the day, to have them just, like, I don't know, like, sit down and just, hey, this is important stuff that you should watch / read. Oh God, don't even get me started on people in reading. Oh God, Lord, like, I feel like few people know how to read. Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, literacy has went down drastically.
Oh my God, yes it has. Keeping that attention's definitely, like, a challenge. How are you managing? How are you able to manage?
Yeah, that is, unfortunately, it's a reality we are living in. And this is where, again, we need to have some sort of, lack of a better word, some shop therapy to address this kind of issues. And this is one of the key reasons I wrote the book. I don't know how many people are going to read it. That's a different fact, But my this is where, again, we need to bring, again, we need to look at how China is addressing this kind of, we need to learn from how, let's put it right, before putting the China into that. So let's look at some of the solutions are within our own history. That's a reason, again, I mentioned we need to look in the book. I'm mentioning about we need to look at our own history. What happened 100 years ago with Theodore Roosevelt, or later on with FDR, his cousin, and with all this country we become wealthy, or we become the number one in the world because of one key reason is because of what those leaders put into. And after the Second World War, we sent all the people coming back from Europe and the rest of the world, and after the war, we sent them back to the schools. Thanks to the GI Bill. So GI Bill educated, especially in 1950s and 60s, all the professional class, the doctors, the lawyers, like that kind of. We send them back to the school. We need to have an. Unfortunately, with the way the currently things are going, we are cutting on our educational budgets, and we are spending the money on the tax write-off. Again, we need to have some sort of shock therapy on, like this. We need to. The chickens are already coming to roost. And if you look at it again, let's look at how the China is addressing. The China, as I mentioned, they have first of all, the TikTok is a traditional TikTok, and most of the traditional, all the Facebook and all those kind of social media. So I think it's pretty much banned, especially among Chinese kids. Even if they're watching, their screen time is limited to 1 or 2 hours. This is a state-mandated stuff. I don't know whether we can bring that kind of, the control over here. We need to bring some control on the screen time. Even if, again, we need to utilize that screen time for some productive, teaching STEM-related education or civic-related education. We need to teach them how to use AI from the robotics perspective or STEM perspective, rather than not to teach them on how to come out with a crappy cat videos. Yeah.
It's funny you should mention this because here in San Diego, San Diego Unified, they're trying to get cell phones banned. And I think it was at first I was kind of on the hesitant. I can see why the teachers want it banned. I think it was Robert who actually gave a good argument saying no, you can't ban phones right now. You can't ban phones because people need it. Robert, you want to? Because I don't want to talk for you.
No, basically, with school shootings, you don't want to ban phones just in case there's an emergency. But I also was like, what if they just made it like a break, like any other thing? Let's do 15 minutes of real work. Here's 5 minutes for you to do on your phone. Go back to 15 minutes. Go with the flow instead of trying to cut it off, because cutting it off doesn't seem to work. Seems like it'd be easier just to go where they're at, meet people where they're at.
Thank you,
Like
Robert.
that. So
Unfortunately, again, we need to the school shooting. We need to address the fundamental issue. Why is the school shooting is happening? With all there's more guns in this part of the world than there are people. So we need to address the fundamental. Again, that's very the number one reason the kids are this generation is getting completely spoiled because of the screen time, because of that.
Yeah.
The cell phone they're carrying in the pocket. I think it is effective now, am I right? Or is it they're still debating on that? So if we control the screen time of first of all, why do they? To my kids, I didn't give them the cell phone. Even I had all kinds of social pressure from on. Instead, I gave them the watch. If the Samsung watch or even the Samsung Galaxy S4, the basic watch, so you can get it for about $100. That watch has the capability of call. So give them, for $50 watch, has that if there is any emergency, let them use their watch to call their parents, not the phone. So we need to come out with that kind of solution, rather than they're playing most of the time. They're playing on the crappy stuff, watching all the crappy TikTok stuff, all those stuff. Again, if they're using they're using the phone, use it for a productive, watching the Khan Academy videos or leveraging, some of the AI capabilities, use it for a productive purpose.
No, I agree with that. But the problem is that you said give them a watch, but it's people can't afford it. So, I guess a better solution for that would be the schools need to give out a phone that has no program. It's not a smartphone. Literally, you get one assigned to you at the beginning of your school year, and you can program the people you need to call, your mom, your dad, whoever is in an emergency. And then they'll put their smartphones locked away, and they'll give this phone that they can't play with unless it's an emergency during school use. but that would have to come out of like a school budget or government budget. And right now, our budget's being slashed, so I
Yeah.
don't see that being viable. But I agree that yes, the attention span and all that other stuff definitely because of the phone use. Because when they first started doing phones with me, like all I had was Snake, and I was addicted to that shit. And then you had the TI 84 calculator, which was really great for STEM. But we also got what was it, Blockman or Puzzle Man that you could download on that shit. That was basically a Mario copy. Like so, we've been trending down this path for a while, and I just really feel like it'd be really hard to put things back in the bottle. Like you would really need some really smart innovations, some cooperation with different agencies and a budget if we're gonna correct this. But I just don't see it right now.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah,
admit, me neither.
yeah, and Robert, I'm not sure how realistic is this, especially considering the education budgets are cutting, left
Yeah,
and right.
exactly. Right now.
Giving away the schools, giving away the phones and managing, to take care of the. It's not just giving away the phone alone. They need to take care of maintaining the phones and all those things. Getting into that one. First of all, why do they need the phone? Again, there can be some relatively, again, the Samsung Galaxy S4. You can the smartwatch. You can get it, I think, less than $100. Relatively way cheaper. And it's an emergency. This kind of watches has the SOS features, all kind of features. It comes with it. So we need to look at
Well, I mean,
that kind.
because with Robert, it might be like super cheap for those that can afford it. Like there are just some people who genuinely can't afford it because of their income. And you could be that person that's like, oh, they shouldn't have kids anyway. To that, I will say, number one, don't be a dick. Two, like, this country's been dealing with a population problem for a good while now because low birth rates. So, take your kids where you can get them. And three, shut up. Don't be a dick. But,
Well, I mean, I will argue that a lot of like other countries that have high populations, they also have a lot of average, a lot of low earning income because what else are they gonna do but have fun, make your baby? So it's kind of like an inverse kind of thing, right?
well, yeah, but but like first world countries like here, Japan, South Korea, like basically all of Europe, they're dealing with low birth rates, and there are a ton of factors into
Yeah,
that.
it's negative. It's definitely negative. That's because we're kind of like we're dumb as a whole, but there's enough smart people on there who's realizing like they're putting shit back to save. They're looking at the markets like they can't get a house in order to have a kid. So I'm like, I'm gonna freeze my egg, or I'm not gonna get birth till later, right? While it's like the ones with like maybe lower education, whatever, and they don't realize we're not gonna get above this. We're just like, well, let's just do this and then shoot for maybe one of our kids is a genius or whatever. We invest in him, and he could be our ticket out. It's like how right now in our country, a lot of people who vote against their interests because they see themselves as one or two moves away from becoming a millionaire or billionaire instead of thinking like they're one or two moves away from becoming homeless.
Mm.
Inversely, other countries must be like, hey, I'm homeless right now, got nowhere else to go but up. So let's roll these dice.
I mean, you could look at it as I know I'm well. Okay, we are coming close to time, and I'm gonna end. I really want to end this on a funny note, because like Robert said, oh, we are homeless and there's nowhere to go but up. But you know what? I'm horny. Let's fuck. Like,
Wait, didn't we come up with this plan before? I swear, like this deja vu, dog. Didn't he come up with this plan?
It's like, man, like, hey, oh God, Jesus Christ. Neighbor walks up. She's all like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Oh man, just a long day at work. My house just got burned down, and I don't have a cheeseburger. I'm horny. Let's do this."
Nothing else to lose, bro. Nothing else. And that's a story. And that's the story that you can sell to Peacock or NBC 10 years down the road. That makes a lot of money. And see, they roll those dice, and in 10 years, you're a millionaire. American dream,
Lord.
live and well.
Well, Mr. Well, Jesus Christ.
Maybe we could have AI children. That's the future. AI children. We got AI girlfriends,
Oh,
AI girlfriends, AI children,
first they take our
AI
jobs,
grandbabies.
then they take our videos. Now they're literally taking our children. I mean, it's one thing that
Yeah.
well, there are people that married their AIs, so I can't. I'm not gonna speak on that no
Uh,
more.
it's no longer future. I think I'm sure you guys have watched the movie Her, about I think 10, 15 years ago. That's literally
Yeah.
happening now.
Yeah.
So one of the
Yeah.
major problems, especially in China and in Asia, is instead of their girlfriends or boyfriends, then they have the AI girlfriends or AI boyfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with the robotics coming into the picture, especially the humanoid, robots coming into the they already, I think, in the process of making $5,000 robot, which is going to take care of all the stuff at home, So it's they're in the Chinese companies are in the process of making that kind of robot. It's we're living in a AI era.
Pretty much.
We're in the dumbest timeline. Skynet's happening. We all know it's happening. We have the script, and yet we're letting it happen.
I mean, at least you don't have to worry about Optimus.
True.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we're probably gonna get more of a GoBots Darkest Timeline than Transformers, but okay.
Optimus has too much anxiety. He can't deal with people being in his space. So
That being said,
Although-
go ahead. You can close it out if you want.
I'll let you close it out again. The way all these Optimus or are you talking about the Elon Musk
yeah,
robot? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
it all
Transformers.
depends on how you program it, what kind of AI or whatever the software behind it. The way you want it, you can program it. You want to be a slave, the robot to be a slave, can be a slave. But unfortunately, the what we are getting into, especially with all this kind of Grok and Grok 4 and or ChatGPT 5 or all these kind of AI products coming out with this, the level of the intelligence it's pretty much at the AGI level. Grok 4, if you bring all the highest of the cream PhDs together to a room, Grok can compete and Grok can overpower all those PhDs. Already the level of knowledge is at the AI already has much more capable than the best of the best, PhDs, cream de la creme PhDs in the world. So it is already. So the problem is going to be the AI. The AI decide, they're going to the whole humanity can be endangered,
yeah.
pretty soon with if AI if they decided to go wrong.
Skynet. That's Skynet, everybody. That being said, thank you, Saji, for joining us on the Chicken Coupe. Please be sure to buy his book. Please give me so I can put that link in the description as well. You all take care. Later on.